In May 2023, I appeared for the Spanish DELE exam for the level C1 and managed to pass the exams in just 3 months by self-studying. I recently received my certificate all the way from Spain, and I wanted to share my experience with the hopes that it helps you too. For those of you who might not know, DELE is the official diploma that certifies your competence in the Spanish language globally. The acronym stands for Diploma de Español como Lengua Extranjera and is the most prestigious and competitive exam for the Spanish language. To give you a rough idea about my experience, I started learning Spanish seriously about 2 years ago and decided that it was time that I appear for C1 last year. In the past, I had appeared for DELE A1 and A2, so I wasn't really very new to the DELE experience, but at the same time, I can't really compare the experience of DELE A1 with the experience of DELE C1. How did I go about preparing for the exam? I started out by doing a lot of research. I read blogs, I watched YouTube videos, but most importantly, I checked out past question papers. This step is so important, I cannot stress it enough. Right now, head over to the Instituto Cervantes website. I'm leaving a link in the description for the same. You will find the question papers for any level that you wish to appear for. This is crucial. This is so that you familiarize yourself with the paper pattern, know how many questions you have to attempt, know how much time can be allowed for each questions, and what strategies you can put in place. Speaking of strategies, I'm going to share my exact study plan, how to clear the writing test, how to clear the listening test, how to clear the oral examination, all of that in detailed future videos. So please stay tuned on the channel. Now, what a lot of people don't know about the DELE exams is that along with a good command over the Spanish language and all its skills like listening, speaking, writing, you also need to play it very smart with time management techniques and other strategies. Remember that just being good in Spanish might not guarantee you passing the exam if, for example, you are not able to get your point across without being concise because you do have a maximum word count limit in the writing section. Or, for example, if you are not able to take the right notes when the audio is playing in the listening exam. These things matter a lot more than we realize. My strategy for the exam. Now, because I was so low on time in preparation for this exam, I decided to just focus on strengthening my grammar concepts up until B2 and focus on the advanced vocabulary and listening skills that are required for a level of C1. Coming to the resources that I used, there are a lot of books out there written especially for the DELE exam, especially for the C1 level. But since I was on a budget, I only invested in this one book initially, which is Las Claves del Nuevo. I'm not really sure what this is called. I think it's DELE C1 Las Claves. But yeah, this is the only book that I used initially. This book has 5 sections, each containing vocabulary, grammar and structures, texts, practice exercises, and it also has 5 mock papers along with audios, transcripts, and solutions to those papers. So overall, a fantastic book to use. There is also another book that I wanted to use, which is called the Chronometro, but I did not have sufficient time to come to that. As far as I know, that book only has mock papers and is not like this one that has, vocabulary and grammar and then moves on to the mock papers. So I would recommend trying both of them. I wanted to do that as well. But I would recommend starting with Las Claves because you should learn the vocabulary and grammar, and only once you feel ready enough, then should you start practicing the mock papers. So I would recommend doing that. I do have to tell you this though, the exercises that I practiced from this book were far more easier than what actually came in the exam. So, but that depends again, sometimes the exam is difficult, sometimes it's easier. Just prepare for a level slightly more difficult than what you see in the book, right? It's best to be safe. My biggest takeaway from this experience is that passing in the first attempt is possible. When I was preparing for this exam, I remember I was working and I did not want to come home after work and sit and study, and I had just even given up hopes of passing this exam in the first attempt. I didn't know what I was thinking, self-studying, just 3 months, DELE C1, and I just gave up. I was only going through with it because I'd already paid the registration fees and I did not want that money to go wasted. So one day I forced myself to just solve one exercise from that book, and while doing that I realized that I got enough marks to pass that section of the exam. And if I just continued doing that throughout the exam, I had a very good chance of passing. So something changed that day and I realized that I did not want to feel in the future that I could have passed if I had just pushed myself a little harder. So something changed that day. I decided to give it a shot. I pushed through, and look at me, I did make it, right? So if you're in the same boat as me, if you're thinking the same thing that this is impossible, let me tell you it's not. Strategize well, plan well, and take all the action necessary to make that plan a reality. And I'm here to tell you that it is so worth it. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any questions for me, please leave them down in the comments below, or you can reach out to me on my Instagram, Hungover Books, and I'll be happy to help you out. See you soon in the next video.